welcome back. You're still watching Morning Thailand, and as Kun Goff promised, we've got bad news for alcoholic lovers. Yesterday, the cabinet meeting has discussed about the excise tax of the alcoholic beverages. Kun Goff, which seems to be some problems here for Thai drinkers because there seems to be people
or
in
expats,
different ranges of age, and the price is going up very dramatically.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought like maybe a little bit.
No.
Okay.
This proposal was made by the finance ministry yesterday, and once it is approved, and it was approved, it will later be enforced under the ministerial regulation. And under this proposal, the excise tax ceiling for both the fermented beverages such as beers and wines, and also distilled beverages such as the whiskey and brandy increases to 2,000 baht per liter of 100% alcohol content. And well, currently under the current regulation, the excise department collects the taxes on the fermented beverages at a maximum rate of 100 baht per liter of 100% of alcohol content, or it's just 60% of the product value. That's two-way, whichever way is higher. And for the distilled beverages, the ceiling is at 400 baht per liter of 100% of alcohol content, or 50% of the value, as I said, whichever is higher as well. However, the excise tax rise will result in, the change will also affect the method of calculating the excise tax as well. It proposed using the retail prices or the hotel prices at the last step in the supply chain, because currently they use the price from the factory, which is very lower from the market price.
Right.
But now they will start calculating from the price that had been sold in the local store or supermarket. And the change will result in the much higher tax collection. In accordance with the tax increase, the minister sought the cabinet approval to set up a fund as well, which will receive 1.5 to 2% of the total alcohol excise tax fake. And moreover, the finance ministry proposed setting up the fund to collect the tax money. And they will use this fund to support the disabled and help pay for education for the ministry staff, and also finance the activities of the excise department as well.
Okay, so they say that this is for good cause,
Yeah.
I guess, going to pay for all the workers and such. Wow. Well, maybe people will drink less alcohol, and who
Seriously?
knows? Yeah. Well, if Gatom is actually legalized, then that's the
We
thing.
saw that with
Right?
tobacco before when they started increasing the price of tobacco, but it seems there's nothing local.
Yeah, it's not going to affect anything, right?
No.
It's true, because tobacco actually, like cigarettes are a lot more expensive elsewhere than in Thailand. That's the facts. Like, you know, in North
We
America,
still have
it's
to
very
wait and
expensive.
see how much the increase will be, how many percent.
So if you're willing to, you know, quit drinking and stop
this is
smoking,
good
you
time.
will, yeah, exactly. You're going to earn a lot of money, that's for sure. Now, let's move on to another interesting case. Kun Fai, of course, we report about the deadly accident involved the mass transport vans, which we have seen a lot too often, I would say, you know, way too often. Now, at this point, obviously, there will be something done about this particular case. Now, Kun Chachat has already, the Chachat Sithipan, the transport minister, is very strong in terms of trying to, you know, make sure that there will be some changes, at least stricter regulation and such. Now, at this point, Kun Chachat has ordered a lot of departments in that, you know, under their responsibility to take a look and survey all the minivans, mass transport minivans in various routes, and as well as try to see the numbers of the vans itself in each of the routes and the number of passengers that needed to use that particular minivans, and see whether or not the number of registered vans actually a lot less than the demand that people have. Because otherwise, if that's the case, he said that those that not fully registered with the transport ministry should actually somehow be talked to and ask them to be registered with the transport ministry to make sure that all this transportation is actually, at least legalized, because they say that if they're registered with the transport ministry, they will first have to, be able to sign a contract or, at least legally registered their vans. Plus, this way, the transport ministry will have a little bit more control because the driver will have at least 3 workshops, 3 days of workshops that they have to undergo. Plus, the car needs to be checked at least twice a year. That's like a minimum standard. So they were hoping that if they're able to talk to all these unregistered vans to request it that, they register themselves, maybe it might be better. And he said that there also a talk about maybe implement or install the RFID in the van itself in order to be able to monitor the van itself, where it's going, how fast it has been driving and such. Now they say that having said that, at this point, the transport ministry, along with other transport departments and companies that involved in this, will actually trying to make sure that this survey will be done, and hopefully they will be able to request it, all the unregistered vans to be registered and somehow get into the system. They're probably going to be regulations or some kind of offers for these vans anyway, so hopefully we'll hear about that soon, and I think that's probably a good alternative, that we're not going to repeat what we have seen
accidents
before.
happen with these ghost vans due to the poor conditions of the van and also the behavior of the drivers.
Exactly, they thought that they're car racers or something, and you're not. The thing is, you have like over 20 people in the car sometimes. You're supposed to only have 15
2
passengers.
types of transports in Bangkok, vans and bus.
Exactly.
I've got to say.
And those are the two that a lot of people that with not that much income needs to use. So at this point, it's good that the transport ministry will do something about it, and I think a lot of provinces will be a lot more strict in terms of trying to monitor all these vans.
Okay,
all
good
right.
For commuters in Bangkok and also upcountry. Now I've got an update on the special case here. Yesterday, the criminal court has read a verdict in the fraud case filed against Kun Pong Pairot Ratchatapan. He's a 68-year-old businessman, the owner and operator of the famous Pong Phet market in Prachachun area. Kun Pong Pairot was accused of forging documents and using fake promissory notes in business contract. According to the court statement, Kun Pong Pairot acted as the managing director of Pong Phet Land Company. He forged 4 promissory notes worth 1.3 billion baht in total and sold them to Mahanakhon Bank, the financial bank, in order to get the money. And however, the Mahanakhon Bank found that those notes were forged. So the criminal court rules that Kun Pong Pairot was guilty in this allegation and sentenced him to 6 years in jail. However, his jail term has been reduced to 3 years. Even though Kun Pong Pairot had filed an appeal, but the appeal was later dismissed, the court statement stated that Kun Pong Pairot, even though he had helped the government before by donating 17 million baht and also 9 plots of land to the BMA, Bangkok Metropolitan Authority. However, that's not enough to pay for his the crimes he committed. And his relatives had already paid the plots of land in Pathum Thani worth 2.5 million baht for his conditional release. And there was still the judges will still consider whether how this sentence will be, whether he would be serving his sentence or not.
Oh, well, that's never good news because we have seen before where if the convicted, the convict actually, or if the court found him guilty, sometimes if you have a good enough lawyer or enough money to pay for a very, very good lawyer who's have all those wits and such, sometimes they get away with it. but this is like a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. All right, let's take a look at more of the situation down south. We know that there has been quite
very serious.
Yeah, very serious, because we know there's a lot of protests right here in Bangkok. We kind of somehow got used to it. We know how to reroute and such. Apparently, in the southern part of Thailand, and we reported about this before, in Nakhon Ratchasima. Excuse me, Nakhon Si Thammarat. Always got these two confused. Nakhon Si Thammarat, which is situated down south. Now, there has been a report of closure, the blockades, I would say, of the train itself, as well as several of the highway. Now, this is at the Khuon Nong Hong in Chawat district of Nakhon Si Thammarat province. Of course, there has been report, and you have seen before, chaos of people throwing rocks with the police and
confrontation with authorities.
Exactly, is quite a bit of a clash, and of course, several of the train stations were actually have to stop pretty much, and this caused a lot of problem, obviously, because it's not only involving the mobs now, it's involving a lot of people who have to transport here and there, and don't forget, we transport stuff from down south as well, so a lot of goods and produce are actually suffer from this as well. Now, they say that yesterday, of course, there has been a talk in the parliament, in the government house itself, and they discuss various issues, and this one have to come up. And apparently, according to the police, Lieutenant General Piya Utayo has came up and talked that there were two main groups altogether involved in this particular protest. One is those people who really got affected by it, so agricultural sectors, people who actually, the rubber farmers, let's just say, and another group he believes to be the people who were hoping to instigate violence, so have some political driven principle behind it, according to Police Lieutenant General Piya anyway. Now, he said that at this point they are requesting that all the people in the areas, especially the authorities, have a lot more patience with the protesters, make sure that nothing escalate. However, they already got arrest warrant for 6 leaders already of this particular case, and at this point they say that if found guilty, these people will be in jail for no more than 3 years, or fined no more than 60,000 baht, or both. Now, of course, this is for blocking all the transport, or at least the public transportation. Exactly. Now, they say that they already arrested 9 of the protesters. So the 6, these one that just came up, the arrest warrants are for the leaders, but 9 of the protesters has been arrested already. At this point, the number has came up, and of course, this is for blocking the road as well. Now, they say that obviously at this point, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Agriculture Minister has came out. Kun Yukhon Lim Lam Thong has said that the problem with the price of the para rubber is that where Thailand is not the country to state the standard of the price. It was Singapore. And at this point, if the government cannot afford to actually pay 120 baht per kilogram as requested by the farmers, but they say that they will try their best to actually look in the long-term solution and such, because he said that Kun Yukhon said that this is not going to solve problem in the long term anyway, so they will try something else. And the Prime Minister has already requested that him, along with the minister himself, the agriculture minister, invited the 4 leaders, the leaders of the 4, I guess, regions here in Thailand. So Sipak, all the the central, the northeastern, southern, as well as the north, because at this point apparently we do plant rubber trees like in various regions. So they requested on the 28th there would be a talk. They would sit down and talk. So today they did not state though, however, what day it is. Now the leaders of the Power Rubber Farmers Association has came out and talked about this as well. Kun Thert Sak Seumsi, he said that he would like to request the political figures to understand that this is not political movement. This is actually, they came out because they really are in trouble and they need some kind of help. So I think all in all, at this point, they're trying their best to make sure that, you know, situation is under control. But once again, we have to wait and see, and hopefully hope for the best, that no violence will be instigated.
There's an issue of a politician with a like S that have been behind this particular protest.
Well,
of
that's
the rubber
thing.
farmers.
Like a lot of people, you know, even in the government house yesterday itself,
and people suspected Kun Suthep
because they said that they don't want others to think that it's political driven. But you know, at this point, you can't deny it that a lot of, especially Democrat parties, MPs seems to be involved one way or another. You know,
because people in the down south are their main voter base.
Exactly, one way or another. There has been talk here and there, but we're not sure. So you know, we can't really pinpoint. And they come out and say that.
But anyway, but the plight of rubber farmers are real.
Exactly.
Right.
So at this point, I think we have to listen to them. But let's hope that, like any other protest, you can voice your principle and your concerns and your ideology. But as long as you did not instigate the violence, it should be fine.
Yes, of course. Let's take a short break for now. When we come back, we take a look at the list of assets and liabilities of the newly appointed cabinet. And also, we've got an update of the reform panel as well. So stay tuned.